So, what if I told you that there was one more thing that we Indians are really good at? No, it's not cricket or Bollywood or snake charmers. It's payments. Indian consumers now make around 25 billion digital payments every year. And guess how much money that is? Around 33 trillion rupees, or over $400 billion. That's crazy. We're talking about more than the GDP of Pakistan. But the craziest part is that this didn't happen because of a sudden surge in internet or smartphone penetration. In fact, the data suggests that it happened because of three changes. 1. The government merged all bank accounts in the country. 2. They gave free smartphones to the poor. And 3. They created a new payment system called UPI. So why do people love UPI so much? For starters, it's super easy. You just need to scan a QR code to make a payment. Second, it works everywhere. There are more than 30 million merchants who accept UPI. Third, it's almost instant. Most transactions go through in under 2 seconds. Fourth, it's safe. All transactions are verified by the central bank. And finally, it's cheap. There are no transaction costs for users and merchants. No wonder India is obsessed with UPI. In fact, UPI has become so popular that even other countries are adopting it. The Reserve Bank of India has inked agreements with 11 central banks from across the world to promote UPI adoption in their countries. So UPI is clearly a win-win for all parties, right? Well, maybe not for the people. Now, before we tell you why, let's tell you a little story. Imagine you run a small business in India. You sell clothes, electronics, kitchenware, basically everything. Now, historically, cash was a problem for you. See, when you took cash, you had no record of the transaction, so you couldn't account for it in your books. Plus, managing cash was expensive. You had to pay people to count it, to transport it, to deposit it. Then came cards, which solved these problems. But there was a catch. Card payments cost money. Merchants had to pay transaction fees. They also had to invest in card swiping machines. Finally, digital payments arrived, and since UPI payments were free, they became very popular among merchants. But recently, some merchants have started complaining about UPI. They say that the payment system is leaking customer data. Listen to what one of them said. When I use the UPI app, it asks me to save customer details like name, phone number, email ID. Why do I need those details? I'm only running a small shop. This merchant is not alone. Hundreds of others are thinking along the same lines. In fact, in August, a complaint was filed with India's markets regulator, SEBI. It said that the UPI system was collecting sensitive user information. So, is it true? Is UPI a privacy hazard? Well, yes and no. To understand what we mean, let's take a look at how UPI works. So, you go to a store and tell the shopkeeper that you want to make a payment via UPI. He opens his phone and clicks on the Scan QR code option. You open your phone and scan the QR code. Once the payment request comes through, you get a notification on your phone. It looks like this. It asks you to enter your UPI PIN. Once you do that, the money is transferred. Now, when you make a payment like this, you definitely give away some information. Like first, the store gets your device account number. Second, they get your UPI PIN. And third, they get your device information. Now, normally, this should not be a problem because UPI PINs are unique. They can only be used on the device where they are set. Also, according to NPCI, the entity that manages UPI, merchants cannot link your UPI PIN to your personal information. So hypothetically, even if someone leaks the database, your personal information should remain safe. However, here's the problem. Most people don't follow these rules. Recently, a man from Gujarat made a very interesting discovery. He found that multiple Paytm accounts could be linked to the same UPI ID. So, what does that mean? That means anyone could make a payment via his Paytm account. So long as they knew his UPI ID, they could even transfer money from his account to their own. The worst part is that this was possible despite having different UPI pins. That's not all. A few months ago, a similar incident was reported from Punjab. A man received money in his bank account, but he did not make any transaction. He checked his statement and found that a shopkeeper had debited his account by mistake. But the next day, he received another debit. Someone had used the same amount to make a purchase at the same store. What does this tell you? That this shopkeeper had access to this customer's UPI ID and PIN. Maybe he saw it on the customer's phone. Or maybe he noted it down, or maybe he even stole the phone. This is what happens when you don't have control over your data. And India's UPI system does not give you that control. Look at the example of PhonePe. When you sign up for PhonePe, you give access to your contacts list. Now, most people think that they are giving this information to PhonePe, but technically they are not. They are giving it to Google. PhonePe only has access to the contacts list that you have synced with your Gmail account. The same is true for your SMS. When you sign up for Google Pay, you give access to your SMS. Again, you're not giving it to Google Pay, you're giving it to Google. Basically, Google has access to your entire life. And this is not an exaggeration. Google knows what you eat, where you go, who you meet, even how much money you spend. And if you don't believe us, read this article. It's from Rest of the World, an award-winning nonprofit newsroom that focuses on technology and power. This article says that Google uses software to gather information about Indian users. It covers topics such as what you search for, who you call, what you buy, what you watch, even how you feel. This information is then used to serve you better ads. So, is there anything that you can do to prevent this? Yes, but it comes at a cost. First, you can uninstall the big tech apps. Instead, use apps like Paytm or MobiKwik. Problem solved, right? Wrong. Here's why. These apps are either owned by or dependent on big tech. Paytm, for instance, is backed by Alibaba and Ant Group. MobiKwik is backed by Amazon. So by using these apps, you're still giving away your data. Second, you can stop getting digital payments via your bank, but then you'll have to carry cash. Third, you can ask merchants to switch to alternative payment methods. But there's a catch. Not all merchants will agree to this. If you want to pay via UPI, you will have to keep scanning QR codes. Now we know what you're thinking. Why don't we ask the government to intervene? Well, that won't help either. You see, the whole idea of UPI was to increase financial inclusion. The government wanted to bring more people into the formal economy, especially the poor. And how did they do it? By collecting data on them. We have proof. In March last year, India's finance minister announced that 88 million Jan Dhan accounts had been covered under the PM Jan Dhan Yojana. 4 months later, he announced that 135 million accounts had been covered. Where did the extra 47 million come from? The answer is pre-filled forms. You see, to open a Jan Dhan account, you don't have to visit a bank. A government official can open an account on your behalf. All they need is some basic information, such as your Aadhaar card number, your phone number, and your address. This is done through a web portal called Madhar. Once the form is submitted, the bank account is opened in your name, and if you're eligible, you get a free RuPay card. This is how millions of poor Indians entered the formal economy. And it's also how the government got access to their data. So, coming back to our question, is India trading privacy for convenience? Well, that depends on what you value more. If you think privacy is more important, then you can uninstall the big tech apps, stop getting digital payments via your bank, and ask merchants to switch to alternative payment methods. But if you think convenience is more important, then you can continue using UPI. Just remember one thing. Never complain about your privacy being invaded if you yourself are invading someone else's privacy. India is at a very interesting moment in its history. It's the 5th largest economy in the world. It's the most populated country in the world. It's also one of the youngest countries in the world. And all of this is changing fast. By 2030, India will be the most populated nation in the world. By 2040, India will be the largest workforce in the world. By 2050, India is expected to be the 3rd largest economy in the world. So India is at a very interesting moment, but how will it navigate the challenges ahead? Will India be able to create enough jobs? Will it be able to end poverty? Will it be able to defend itself against China? Hello, and welcome to Gravitas Plus, the premier destination for all things global. I am your host. Do subscribe to watch our nightly opens, stories that are changing the world and changing your life from the world's most powerful nations.